Okay, let's start right off with the first one here. 2021. I've got a couple of things I want to bring up real quick before we get into this, and it has to do with that. And this is out of the a month or so back of the AARP magazine, which I understand a lot of people are dead set against because they're so stinking liberal. But I get it. I pay for it. I give my $16 a year to get my AARP because I like it, and even though they're liberal, hey, you got to know your enemy, right? Never mind. I didn't say that. Okay, one of the things in here was retail bankruptcies jump. And here's what it says. Older workers have been hit hard as a string of household name businesses have declared bankruptcy and slashed staffs after losses caused by the COVID-19 pandemic. The impact of the loss of retail jobs for workers over 50 will be shattering, says Carrie Hannon, AARP work and jobs expert. These positions typically provide opportunities for older workers as they phase into retirement. Among the well-known businesses that have declared bankruptcy this year, according to the American Bankruptcy Institute, is J.C. Penney, Neiman Marcus, J. Crew clothing chain, Tuesday morning retailer Pier 1, and Hertz Global Holdings, which is a rental car company. Also, this is real interesting. Social isolation in the never-changing landscape of Antarctica led to social isolation. These are people that live in Antarctica, led to a 7% shrinkage in the hippocampus region of the brain of a research crew. Study in the New England Journal of Medicine found. The study took place before COVID-19. Researchers suggested the findings might apply to future voyagers on long space treks. The shrinkage appears to be reversible once an isolated person is exposed to a variety of scenery and experiences. So this social distancing and staying away and the quarantine and everything, that they're saying that it reduces our hippocampus, chemical balance and everything by 7%. So now, if that's true over a small period of time, then by the time we get to 2021, if all of us are just hanging out at home, we're going to be bouncing off the stinking walls here, and with all the businesses that are going out, we'll have no place to go. So, we can't stay in quarantine that much longer. And so I'm real interested in what you think. Will Trump be reelected? All that kind of stuff. So everybody kind of keep it 5 minutes or less. And I'm going to start with Jim, man, because Jim's leaning forward here like, man, I got to get on this. So, Jim, what sayest thou?
I think, we're going to see bankruptcies too with city governments and counties. New York, they're in bad shape. I think we're going to see some major government, local governments fall. You talked about isolation, and Bloomberg was talking about taking the way that they can handle a lot of people who they claim are resistant to wearing masks and they don't want to comply, is to put them in isolation. And they have isolation facilities all around the United States. So, I think that that's going to be an issue. I look at what's going on with China. We hear stories about how China was sending invasive plants, seeds over to people. They shipped over about 20,000 fake IDs, which could be used for, illegal immigration, or it could be used for voter fraud, with the upcoming election. And then they also got China got busted. The U.S. confiscated weapons for assault rifles that were bound to Florida. And so, what's China doing? We saw the embassy, I think it was in Texas. The embassy was burning all kinds of documents. So I was in the military, I was in military intelligence, and that was one thing that we really looked at as like an alert, like something was going to happen, or they were withdrawing their diplomatic people as a prelude to war. What's going on underneath the in the covert type realm of China? What are we facing? So I think people need to really pay attention to that and look at that. What I'm really concerned about, mostly for 2021, is the attacks on the churches. I drive around here in our state, and I see a bunch of churches just closed down, shut down. They're just giving in and yielding to, instead of standing up and saying, no, we're not going to close, we're going to still hold services. They're just shutting down, and there you go and you see signs. Oh, we have online services. A lot of cowards are is standing behind the pulpit. You need to stand up because you need to push back, or you're going to really lose. We're going to start seeing our rights getting lost. And in California, I got information from Liberty Counsel. And Liberty Counsel is talking about all these churches in California that are being persecuted. They're being attacked. They're being fined $1,000 a day. Not only are the churches being fined, but they want to fine the people that attend church $1,000 a day. They're arresting pastors. Well, my question is, why are we only looking at a few pastors standing up to the California government? Why are they filing lawsuits? Why isn't every church standing up? But we don't see that. So I think in 2021, we're going to see a lot more persecution because these local tyrants, and I want to call them that, these local tyrants have gotten a taste of what it's like to be able to flex their authority and their muscles. And I think they're getting addicted to it. And I think we're going to see more of it. I think we're going to see more attacks on the churches. They're telling you can't sing in church. They're telling you that you can't have communion. You can't celebrate the Lord's Supper. And this doesn't just come from it comes from the governors. It comes from local governor or local officials and mayors. I think Fauci had talked about it. He thinks the Lord's Supper is not something that churches should celebrate. People got to really wake up and see the fact that our rights don't come from the government. Our rights don't come from the Constitution. People talk about constitutional rights, but the Constitution does not give you your rights.
It only protects them.
It's a document to protect your rights. Where our rights come from, and this is stated in the Declaration of Independence. Our rights come from our Creator. They come from God. The Constitution only secures those rights. So people need to start standing up, and I would like to see a turnaround. I would like to see the believers start to stand up for what they believe in. But I know there's a lot of people that are really just passive about things. But I would like to see that turn around, and maybe 2021 could be a better year. But the way the trend is, it's kind of alarming.
So you think that if we don't stand up for what we believe, it's just going to continue to get worse then?
Oh yeah, definitely.
By far,
definitely. But people need to do. They not only just stand up for your rights, but we still have some type of rule of law here in this country.
Sure.
Take advantage of it. Take these officials to court. And stand up for your rights. Protest.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Right.
You bet. But people have this attitude like, well, it's there's the end times and there's nothing we can do about it. We just got to wait for Jesus to come. That's not the case. We're the salt and light.
Yeah, I'm with you, brother. I'm with you. I'm there to some extent. So I'm going to jump over here to Eddie. What do you think, my friend? Oh, I didn't mean to take you out. I mean to move you over.
Can I lean forward and scare everybody?
No, no, you can't.
There you go. I'll bring the cutest thing around here. Say hi to everybody. Say I missed that. Okay. I agree with what Jim said, and we all have our understanding of time and our understanding of events. I may have shared this with Sandy and you and other shows, but we're of the opinion that 2017 was the 120th Jubilee. That makes us 3 years away from that event. And why do I say that about 2017? Well, we had two great signs in the heavens. What, honey?
You got 5 minutes.
Okay, two great signs in the heavens that very few people understood. It was much ballyhooed, and people were ridiculed for even considering it. The first one was magnanimous, which was Jupiter being in the womb of Virgo for 9.25 months. And in the 9th of September, Jupiter exited Virgo's womb. That was directly related to Micah 5:3. Micah 5:3 states, and he, referring to the ruler in Micah 5:2, will give them, meaning the house of Judah, up until she which is in travail has delivered. Then he, again referring to Yeshua from verse 5:2, will restore Judah to his brothers. It was a magnanimous announcement of the coming fulfillment of Micah 5:3. I'm going to go back to Habakkuk in Deuteronomy 33, where Moses, in his last will and testament, before he goes up to the mountain, views the land and dies, he gives a blessing. He goes from Reuben and goes directly to Judah. He skips Simeon and Levi and states, "Hear, O Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, the voice of Judah, and restore him to his brothers." So that's what was announced in 2017, which was the 120th Jubilee. The second great sign was the sign of Revelations 12. The woman clothed, again Virgo, clothed with the 12 stars, the sun, clothed with the sun on her shoulder, and the moon at her feet, which was visible in Jerusalem in the morning. It really was, you had to know it was there to understand it. But that to me was a significant thing, because in our Messiah's first appearing, we had the Star of Bethlehem, which brought in 3 guys from out of town. They weren't given a ticker tape parade in Jerusalem. They were, as a matter of fact, when they made their pronouncement that we are come to worship him who is king, born King of the Jews, it said the whole town, Jerusalem, feared and trembled. Okay? So, things being according to pattern, we had one magnificent celestial event, the Star of Bethlehem, that brought the 3 brothers from out of town into town and gave the gifts to Messiah, as we all know. We have had 2 of them. Not 1, but 2. And we're in the 3rd year of that event. Is it any wonder why back in March, in Aviv 1 of this 3rd year, Trump comes out and says, hey, Fauci and Birx have said this stuff's coming, we got to shut it down. And things have not, and I don't think will not, return to normal. But the most important thing that I want to share with you is that in 1 Kings 18:1, it gives the timing of the coming of Eliyahu Hanavi. And it says this: And it came to pass after many days that the word of Yod-Heh-Vav-Heh, meaning this is Yeshua, came to Eliyahu in the 3rd year, saying, Go and show yourself unto Ahab, your father's brother, for I will send hail. The Hebrew term is matar. It's translated rain in most of your English translations, but I will send hail upon the earth. So I say to my esteemed guests here tonight, what I'm looking for this coming Sukkot is the appearance of not one, not two, but 3 individuals, because the pattern is clearly 3. John wrote about the 2 witnesses, okay? And is my time up, gang?
Yeah, pretty close, but wind it up. That's all right. Wind it up.
Okay, so Abraham saw 3 men standing. Micah 6:4? Behold, is Rabbi, I think that's maybe Re'eh. He says, see, I sent Moses, Aaron, and Miriam to bring you up. Gang, we're going to have the 2 witnesses plus 1. And I believe that plus 1, gang, is Moses.
Interesting.
Okay? So this is what I'm looking at. And what Jim, you're talking about, this, Christians are, the separation of where we're going to be. Are we going to stand for the faith? Are we going to stand up? Are we going to be, go and grab the bull by the horn and say, no, we're not going to go to the government, way, is very important. But this is where I believe we're going and where we're headed. But Sukkot's going to be a real banger.
We're right there.
Amen.
Daryl, chime in, my friend. It's all yours.
I think that the table has been set for us, that very much like Jim said, that there's been a lot of lukewarmness that's been going on. We are most definitely living in the Laodicean age. And I'm astounded and appalled by the way that so many pastors are just rolling over and wanting their belly scratched, kind of like, the guests over there in Eddie's arms. They're not as cute. And what's happening here is that there is going to be a full frontal attack. I mean, China is doing everything possible to make its move now. And the enemy thinks that his plan is going to, and there's nothing that can stop it. But what he always fails to take into account is that our God is bigger. But the day is over that the church at large is being protected. I have spoken about this many, many times, and I dwelt a fair bit about this on the message on Shabbat, in that if you've got evil people that are running the entertainment industry to the point where they're going to foist a 50-plus year fraud upon us, because for those of you who didn't see the message, I was talking about the Beatles in conjunction with the Torah portion. If there's a fraud that's being foisted upon us for 50 years with regards to a music group, what else are they doing? And so the enemy is moving hard, but because the church has not taken its stand, God's going to allow them, most believers, to experience the fruit of their labors. We're going to see, I think, the entire West Coast of the United States go absolutely up in flames. I mean, the cops are already saying in Portland, we're out of here. If they're not even going to prosecute, why are we even bothering? And so they're getting what they've asked for. And I think the rest of this year is going to be tumultuous. I think going into next year, it will continue to be so. I don't think we're ever going to get out of that. We're not going to go back to the peaceful times. In the book, The Fourth Turning, which I read probably about 12 years ago or so, it talked about how we're entering into that fourth generation, the winter season, and there's always time of calamity. I mean, they trace back 500-600 years all the way going back out to Europe, that every fourth generation was the winter season. And the generation that rises up with that is a warmongering one. And there's this convulsion, but every time it gets worse because the technology gets better. And so you've got China that's waging a full frontal attack on the United States right now. The technology that they're with the 5G and all this nonsense about Huawei, and it's going to be bad. There are food shortages. They're already starting. What in Dallas? What last week there were lineups for the food bank that were literally miles long, and we have the collapse of the food chains. On the other hand, the remnant, I think, are going to begin to prosper. Just like Elijah was provided for by first the ravens, and then you had the widow, Zarephath. God will provide for his people. And those of us who have really endured a lot, and I would say that anybody who has been invited to the show has endured a lot over the last couple. I mean, it has been boot camp, and it's long boot camp. It's not like a 6-month boot camp. I mean, Milena and I are just coming out of a 10-year wilderness experience. And we've been trained hard. It's been very tough discipline, but we're being prepared for what the world is not ready for, and the vast majority of the church is not ready for. I think a lot of churches are going to close. I am sitting here and I am cheering guys like John MacArthur, like you wouldn't believe. And whether I agree with him on everything or not, the point is the man is taking a stand for his Lord, and he says, we will not bow to Caesar. And I'm dismayed at how many are. And so we're going to see a lot of churches closing. I've heard a lot of people who are saying they're not going back to churches because what's the point? I got to wear a mask. I can't sing. Now they're going to start putting in the contact tracing apps. And if you don't think they're going to not make those things mandatory, think again. They're going to be
AI. AI.
Yeah. And it's going there. And so it's going to be a lot harder. And for those who have taken the soft, easy way out, many are going to fall away. Many are going to walk away from their faith. But for those of us, we will remain to the end. And I think there will be a great reward. I think the remnant are going to prosper in 2021. I think there's a time of abundance. I think that when it says that the wealth of the wicked has been stored up for the righteous, I believe that transfer is about to happen because God's got to get some things done. And he needs the people who he can trust to get it done, to do it. And so I'm sitting here waiting, and I'm waiting for God to say go, because we're ready to go.
We're ready to go. We're ready to go. Very good, brother. Very good. I knew you were going to go there. Robin, why don't you come on in here and talk to us? What do you think about 2021? She's got. There you go. You're good.
Well, just to piggyback on a lot of what Daryl was just saying is thinking about just what's the picture going to be like in society over, I would say, the next year. And so if you think about just from an immediate sense of, as in the days of Noah, right? You had people being married, giving in marriage. It's almost like we can't slumber, even if things don't look as dire once this election's over. If a lot of this political unrest is biased toward an election, which in this virus, I mean, you wonder if you'll even hear about this virus after the election. I don't know. But how much of this is driven toward creating some, anything to make faceless people so that you don't know there's a silent majority or whatever that might look like. One of the things that I think we should take account of is that society doesn't go down without fighting, even them. So we don't give up, right? And we don't go down without a fight, and we will always stand and be the remnant. But you think about it, the Hollywood is embedded in pop culture. I follow pop culture like you follow that magazine, Mark, because you can see what's embedded and what's planted and what's yielding right now. And honestly, this whole face mask thing, think of Hollywood. Just look at this. I'm not trying to be jaded, but just think of this. People want their plastic surgery and their perfect toilet bowl white teeth, and they want to get out of the limo and have all their pictures taken and have their movie premieres and all these things that they can't do right now, that they put aside sacrificially so that they can disrupt our rights, so they can be back in control. I really do believe there's this whole, like, the entertainment industry is such a game of programming and control. And it's that elite mindset. It's that whole thing where we are going to, they'll drive the narrative, but not the reality. And as long as people are masked and hidden away and not parked in church parking lots, we don't know how numerous we are. And that's part of how we can be afraid. So I think that next year, I think after this election, I think you're going to see the masks come off. I really do, because I think the entertainment industry is going to want to get back in the saddle, programming us to give us a false narrative of what our lives should look like, the way we should be, striving to be, what's trending. All of this stuff is wrapped up in all their millions of dollars and everything that they are driving. So just to add, the much better points other people have already made today, is just from a practical standpoint, I see that getting reestablished. The pop culture getting reestablished. Music videos are going to get started again. Movies are going to be filmed again. All these award shows. What's interesting, though, I will say, I think we have all seen how irrelevant all that is. And I think they know it too. But the people who have the microphone are the people that are going to drive the narrative. They're not going to ever create reality, but they are going to be as in the days of no, I think we can't slumber and think just because something looked like it's coming back to normal and the riots have stopped, right? That's probably when you need to get your antenna up even higher, because we won't ever really be what we were. But I hope I hope we're elevating to that next level, because I'm not afraid. I'm looking forward to the next level. And I don't say that lightly, because I don't think it's going to be easy. But I do believe pop culture is a measurement stick, as in the days of Noah, as to what we can move forward and look toward. And what's interesting is you have like YouTube, just this algorithm here, right? We have what we're doing here. And what's interesting is that you have all these people that are just YouTube people, and they're actually more popular now than Hollywood people. People are more interested in people's morning routines and how they make their oatmeal than these movies. So I don't think Hollywood's going to let that go on for much longer. They're really realizing that how irrelevant are we completely. So
we're all YouTube stars too.
That's right. That's exactly right. That very well said. I like that. Everybody's been right on. Is very good. I like that though. What you said, because it's what the pop culture says is usually the way the world goes, not the way we go, but the way the world goes, and that's very, very interesting. I like it a lot. Judith, you want to jump in here with a word? Come on in. I think we're playing my chords.
There we go. How about now? Can you hear me now?
Sorry, we're playing my chords, I think. So go ahead.
Actually, I have something a little different from what Robin was bringing up. As far as movies, television, and whatnot goes, Hollywood, definitely, they are all in with hiding for now. And I think they're going to come out with something different. We listened to a gentleman who speaks in the mornings. He's actually from the Catholic Church. He's very conservative. He's awesome to listen to. I cannot remember his name. I just like this. Mike Church. Jim listens to him on talk radio, and he was bringing up the other day how if you watch the music or the movie industry, it's going to change dramatically. One of the biggest ones coming out right now is the show or the movie Mulan. Disney's not going to bother releasing it across the country or even worldwide in movie theaters. They're going to go ahead and distribute it through I think it's called Disney Plus. I don't know a lot because we don't have little ones. So they're going to distribute it through the Disney Plus program, and you have to pay, in addition to your monthly fee, you're going to have to pay the $30 fee to rent the movie. So it's going to be a large.
Wow.
Yeah, so you're paying, it's either $10 a month or $15 a month, whatever their monthly fee is, plus $30 to rent the movie, and you don't own that movie for rental. So it's not like you bought the DVD. Pardon me, I got a bug that's bugging me. But I think that what Hollywood is doing right now, and not just Hollywood, but the fashion industry, is really intriguing. I don't see 2021 changing much as far as our mask fashion goes, except for it's going to come full tilt they're going to really unmask the masks. Just in the last couple of weeks, I've watched women's fashions change dramatically. You have people like J-Lo, the Kardashians, and countless other lovely individuals coming out with, Beyonce's another one, wonderful sparkly lines of masks. You can buy bridal masks now so that if your daughter is getting married, you can buy her beautiful veil, her lovely dress, and her mask to match. And they will even dye the mask to match her shoes if she wants it a slightly different shade. They're more than willing to come out with things to accommodate the mask. And I think that they're going hog wild. They have an entire, and Mark, you brought up bankruptcies. There is a store, and I want to bring them up right now. They are filing for bankruptcy, but they have come out with a pre-order line for women's fashions that involves women's turtleneck tops, women's turtleneck dresses, and and the dresses are available and the tops are available in short sleeve, 3/4 sleeve, and long sleeve. So you can carry them through the seasons, the ad said. These tops and these dresses, and they even have a new jumpsuit that they've just introduced. And these are all pre-orders. They're not available for purchase. You're pre-ordering for they will be delivered within the next 30 to 90 days. That's an extended period. So ladies, plan on your fashions being 30 to 90 days out. You better have your matching masks. These turtlenecks have a mask built in that you just pull up the turtleneck and the loops go over your ears and it's all a part of your shirt. And I am not kidding. If you go to my Facebook page, it's right there. You might have to scroll down the timeline a lot. I've been rather vocal lately.
God save us.
It's not the only one, Mark. They are coming out like it's crazy. Women are probably more familiar with this than guys are. Your ad that slides across your news feed on the right-hand side, and you've got the complete outfit. You've got the top, the pants, the shoes, everything matches. And then they accessorize with your cute little pocketbook, your jacket. Maybe they include 2 jackets with this set so that you have your work jacket and then you can change it out and quick. You're ready for nighttime, going out, formals, whatever. They used to not include anything as silly as a mask. But now your women's ensemble sets come with anywhere from 1 to 7 masks. And yes, I have actually seen women's ensembles where you can just change out your daytime mask. Maybe you want to go out to lunch with friends, so you got a friend mask. Jim's over, he's going to put his mask on. Try and tell him about the hair.
Yeah.
We stopped at a store one day. It was really funny. I go in to use the restroom, and a lady says to me, ma'am, you have to have your face covering on. So I just grabbed this, and I just quick grabbed it and went and ran to the restroom. I had my face covering. That was the best I was going to do. Women, you need to stop buying these fashion ensembles. You need to wake up. Hollywood is actually sneaking in through the back door and going through our fashion lines, ladies. And there goes Mark. You should see Jim's favorite mask. It says tyranny. So I don't think Hollywood's hiding quite as much as we'd like them to. I'd really like them to hide a little bit more. There you go, Mark. But I think that we're going to see more and more fashions come out in ways that I never expected.
Yeah. Well, speaking of fashion, see, this is sent to me by my insurance company, my Humana. See, they
Yep. That's another one. You know, you can get masks from every sports team, college, store.
Yeah.
We've seen graphic design companies. They're all design. You call them up and you say, listen, I need 500 masks for my business. They'll do them for you.
Yeah, buddy. Yeah, here we go.
So.
But you could be a mask diva too.
Yeah, you can be a mask diva.
Yeah, okay. That's it. All right.
Just said Marcus Sparkley mask.
Yeah. Bling don't work with me, but thanks. Tammy, are you want to add anything to this?
Well, I don't know if you guys have ever heard of Rebecca Sterling. Have you? She was a guest on what was his name?
Rick Wiles.
Rick Wiles' show back in 2015. And are you familiar with a diorama? A diorama is where you depict
Sure.
scenes using dolls.
Yeah. Daryl and Melaine are
that
really
kind of
into that kind of stuff.
Okay.
Okay.
Well, Rebecca Sterling, you can't find her on the internet now. You might still be able to get the archives of the Rick Wiles show. But she was given a vision back in 1999 about Obama and his family and everything that was going to happen pretty much during the Obama administration. She wasn't shown much after the Obama administration, but that she was showed that he was not going to leave the White House. Well, technically, he hasn't left power because he's one of the biggest in the
Deep state.
well, I didn't know if I wanted to say that word.
Of course.
But
No big deal.
okay. Well, anyway, one of the things that she said in her presentation that used to be on Vimeo, we purchased it and we downloaded it and we are able to share it, but you can't put it online. She said that, of course, that the Pope is the false prophet, and
Consensus number one.
and that he is going to have a she called it the toilet bowl what was it?
Concert. It's it's not a concert. It's like a Super Bowl on steroids.
Yeah. Pardon?
What is it? What is it?
Well, anyway.
Sherry, say it again. Okay, never mind.
Okay. Anyway, she said that a year out from this thing, he was going to start having auditions, and during this show that he's going to have, it's scheduled for 5 days. That is when the anti-Messiah is going to be announced.
It's going to be attended by supposedly our brothers from outer space, extraterrestrials. They're going to reveal themselves, and they're going to be looking just like all the characters out of a Marvel comic magazine.
Yes.
Cool.
Well,
and the seats will cost $1 million if you want. Seriously,
I'm gonna start saving right now.
well, anyway, she said that, like I said, he was going to have auditions throughout a year ahead of this program. Well, we were watching Paul Begley's AI, his AI thing that he did, and on Steve Quayle
his presentation.
In his presentation showed a video of the Pope having all these circus characters all on the stage, and to me it was like the Ruach HaKodesh said, that is the auditions
for this great meeting that's going to be broadcast worldwide.
Wow.
Where supposedly extraterrestrials, we know them as the fallen angels, are going to present themselves as the saviors of mankind. And we actually saw 2 different videos of different troops auditioning before the Pope.
And he had a couple cardinals sitting on there, and you can go on the Vatican's website, and they actually have the videos on there. I can send you the link later.
I have the Vatican website linked right up here at the top here. I go to it all the time.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, anyway, so if this meeting is in less than a year, then I think 2021 is really going to be a very interesting year. Because
say the least.
Well, you know, it's a lot of people are out on the internet with these dreams, like Pastor Dana Culverstone, and there have been others that have been come out. Eddie sent out earlier. I don't know if you got a copy of it, Mark.
Yeah.
Video by God's Roadmap to the End.
Okay.
And he explained he puts together Culverstone's videos with another gentleman out of Liverpool, England,
Brother Lee.
and if you guys haven't seen it, I highly recommend you go and watch it, because they are all calling for repentance.
Wow.
This season coming up to the high holy days, we all need to be on our faces before God and getting our lives right and ready to go, because
Amen.
what is coming is not going to be a picnic.
Truly.
No picnic for 21. No picnics in 2021. You guys heard it. Okay. No picnics. That's it. We're good. All right. We're going to jump over to Milena. And before we do, I want to make sure that Daryl knows that Paul is not dead. Okay. That's all there is to it. Paul is not dead. And now we can go on.
I know, I just happen to be such a big Beatles fan, but it doesn't matter. So concerning 2021, I don't know why. I barely ever do that, but I was watching Sid Roth's It's Supernatural, and he had a guest, Kevin Zadai, on the show, and he was specifically talking of an encounter with Jesus, with Yeshua, and he was telling him what's coming up in the next few months. Yes, Zadai, thank you. And it was interesting because it was really resonating with what I have been asking God about and has been answering, and which is, yes, the enemy is on the move. We see, and God, one expression he gave me was, it's the world's no longer ungodly world, it's anti-God world now. So people are now just really taking sides at this point. They're either standing for God firmly or they are going on the other side. There's no middle ground. And the good news is that there's always cleansing. There's always, so one of the things that was said is that judgment has started. The world is being judged. God's people are being judged. And in order for us to avoid judgment is to judge ourselves. So to really examine ourselves at this time and really straighten out things that haven't been aligned with God. Because if we don't do that for ourselves, then God will do it. And it will be, it won't be a picnic. So So that's one of the things. This is a time for really examination and judging, and it's not just self-judging, but it's judging within the body, which is judging what's right and what's being done, and just standing, like Jim spoke about, like standing up for what is right and speaking up against what is wrong. And how do we determine that? Well, that's according to God's standards, God's word, and so at this time, there is a chance for us to receive God's protection, to receive his blessing, especially when things are going crazy around. Like Daryl was mentioning, the food shortages. I mean, the weather is just so extreme that it's harder and harder to grow crops. God will provide. God will provide. God will prosper. But who is the remnant that God will prosper? And that's one of the things I find in a lot of Christian shows I'm not hearing is, who is the remnant? And a lot of the definitions would be, well, those who perform miracles and signs and wonders and so forth. But I don't see obedience to the commandments being mentioned in any of those. And you know, this reminds me of the scripture when Yeshua says, you perform signs and wonders in my name, but depart from me, I did not know you. So that is like, the signs and wonders is not the litmus test. It's sorry, it's our obedience to the commandments. It's our adherence to the commandments, despite all, like, and there is really persecution from within, from those who are supposed to be our brothers and sisters. And that is a true sign if you believe and you do adhere, because it's one thing to believe and say, yeah, I believe we need to follow the commandments. I believe we need to be obedient. There's reward for the obedience. But what does it look like in your life in terms of fruit? And that's what we need to examine for ourselves and also for those around us. And
well, and I think to illustrate that, just the other night, I had a dream about someone I'm working with, and he's been helping support the Kenyan ministry with the orphans and everything else, and he has a real burden and passion for this. And the dream was, I don't get prophetic dreams very often, but this one was quite clearly that, and it was a warning to say that there are, in the dream, I was doing some work with this guy, and I constantly had to fend off centipedes that were coming at me. And at the end of the dream, there was a 3-foot centipede. Now, I don't know what it's like maybe down in Mississippi there, but that might be something
there's
you deal
snakes.
with.
Sherry has stories about snakes.
Sherry has snakes. But a 3-foot centipede is a pretty terrifying thing, because they're carnivores and they're poisonous. And the warning is that God is not going to bless what this man is doing until he resolves some things within him. And he is of the mindset, because he's Orthodox Christian, I do not believe he is saved. And I think that, and Milena said this, that he believes that his good works are going to outweigh these things that, the things that he's not addressing. And God is saying that's not going to fly anymore.
Yeah.
No.
And so all of these people who have been getting away with stuff and not dealing with their stuff are going to be forced to deal with it. And those who don't want to deal with it are going to find themselves on the outside looking in.
Ultimately, what God has spoken to me is it's a time when things are coming to the surface and they're being cleared and dealt with and cleaned out. And everything's becoming exposed. Nothing can remain hidden anymore.
Numbers 32:23 says, your sin will find you out.
Yeah. Pray every day that all things that are hidden be revealed, because that is what's coming anyway. So it opens our eyes.
Well, and I loved how it's been said that there is going to be an unmasking that's going on. They're trying to force everybody with the mask.
Wow, yeah.
And God, and I think it lines up with the fall feasts, that there's going to be a time of ripping those masks away, and all of the propaganda machine and everything else, our forced burqas are going to be tossed to the side.
Yes.
All right. Thanks, Milena. Appreciate it. Really appreciate it. Good word. Sherry, it's all yours, my sister.
Well, I believe what is going to happen at the first part of the year is going to be based on what we do now. Are we going to get real with God? Are we going to quit playing games? What's going on? And it goes up to search me, O Lord, and know my heart. See if there's any wicked way in me, and lead me in the way everlasting. And we're coming up on the month of Elul, which is the month of repentance. This is where we are to search our hearts, to search our lives, and get before the Lord. The Holy Spirit will show us what we need. Everybody's different. Everybody's on a different path. Not a different path, a different place on this path. And so it's going to be based on that. And are we totally sold out to God?
Do what?
That's the question. Are we totally sold out? They overcome him.
I am. Yes, I am.
Amen. Because it talks about the believers in Revelation, and this should be believers in every generation. They overcame him by the blood of the Lamb, the word of their testimony, and loving not their lives unto death. That means loving not their lives unto death, and one word is commitment. Are we committed to him if it means we have to die? So there have been some pastors that have stood up to this COVID thing, this Nevada church. The Supreme Court just overturned them. They said that the casinos could operate at 50% capacity, but the churches couldn't have over 50 people. This church is out in the boondocks. They have a 200-seat auditorium, and they only have 90 members. They could have had everybody there, but instead they shut them down because they are a church, so they could only have 50 people. They took it to the Supreme Court, and the Supreme Court sided with the Nevada government. And opinion, this is not Messianic Lamb's opinion. This is my opinion. Lukewarm turncoat Chief Justice Roberts needs to go away because it was his vote. He is lukewarm. He's neither hot nor cold. He is lukewarm. He plays whichever side he wants. So, and there are other rebellions going on. This Sean Feucht, Let Us Worship. They just had a rally in Seattle. It was so beautiful. It made me cry because I saw it on the internet. They were worshiping. These were young people, millennials. They were all out there praising and worshiping God. You would see people praying with these young people, and they actually had a portable baptism. They were send their life to the Lord. They put them they baptize them in water right then. So there are some rebellions. Now, I yield the rest of my time for pleading the blood.
Well, that's good because you're going to be the first one, and then I'm going to bring Daryl in. But I don't think everybody is going to jump in on that one, but ought to be interesting. So I'm going to wrap this one up by giving my opinion on this, and I think we're just going to forget everything that happened in 2020, 2021. Will January 1st, our memories will be wiped clean. I think that they'll have one of those little things from Men in Black, and they'll walk around and everybody will get their memories wiped clean, and nothing happened in 2021. So that's where I'm going. I honestly, that's joking a little bit, but I honestly think that it's not going to be as bad as what we all think. But then again, I have been accused of being an ostrich before. So, there's a lot of sand in North Carolina, 3 miles from my house. Actually, my yard's full of sand, a lot of holes in there. So, I can jump around and be an ostrich all I want to. So, anyway, hey, who knows? But I think you all, isn't it interesting how 9 people had 9 completely different views on this? And every one of us are going through this. Every one of us have access to the same information. And all 9 of us have 9 completely different ways to look at it. So thank you all so much for your views. This will make a great segment that will go out and...
We are richly blessed to bring you what we believe is the fullest, most diverse, yet up-to-date progressive teachings, discussion, and prayer programming you can find anywhere on this planet. Be sure to take the tour of the MessianicLambRadio.com website. I'm Susan Hoogie, thanking you for joining us on the Messianic Lamb Video Network.